Yo, what up, guys? What up? Guys, in this video, we're going to be talking about why I feel like you, as a software developer, guys, should have a business oriented mindset, right? Should have that kind of mindset. And we're going to talk about this in this video, guys. But, like always, gotta say, but, before we get started, guys, hit that like, follow me on Twitch as well, man. I appreciate it. And let's get started. So one of the things I have done a lot, guys, on the channel, of course, talked about text programming, coding, stuff of that nature, right? AWS, Python programming, and so on. But I'm going to be making some videos because I want to be talking as well about the business aspect of it, right? Just like in my on my profile, tech and business, but I really haven't talked much about the business side. I want to share my insight through my own experience and also some of the benefits, from it. Not I get it. Not everybody is going to want to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody wants to pursue that path of, owning your own business or, developing your own platform, your own app, and etc. That's totally fine, man. Like, there's nothing wrong with that if that's the case. But for the ones that are interested in it, I want to share certain patterns that I have seen from other software developers that I think would actually hinder you in the long term when it comes to having success in a startup, in success in an app, etc. Right? In general, whatever it may be. But we're going to be focused in this case, as for my software developers. The reason why you need to have a business oriented mindset is one of the things that I have seen people that do not have that mindset, that are software developers. They're good. They're good at developing apps. They're good at what they do, like really good. The problem is they get an idea and then they start putting, let's say, some action behind that idea. Maybe, well, that's all different issue. But sometimes they don't even put an action. What they do is start planning the idea. So there's a lot of planning involved, and it's like months and months of planning and trying to think of all the different scenarios and doing everything for months, man. Sometimes even years, and nothing gets done. Nothing, because they're looking to try to create this perfect solution. They want to make sure their app could handle hundreds of millions of requests per second, that their apps is scalable, that their app is, you know, everything accounted for, that there will be no bugs and this and that, and everything, right? What's the cheapest solution? Because if we scale to this amount, what's going to be viable? We don't want to pay too much. I mean, again, the list goes on and on of all the different scenarios they're trying to think of at the time. The problem with that approach is you tend to overthink it too much, and then nothing gets done. Nothing gets done. And then eventually what happens, that idea dies out. The any energy that you would have had in the beginning to actually put action to that idea, there is no more energy behind that idea no more. So now you don't even feel like coding it up or putting any effort into it. The approach, when you have a business oriented mindset, and this is something that if you do not have, start getting familiar with, right? How do you get familiar with it, man? Look at other people that are business savvy people that could share knowledge within that area. There's certain books, right? You got to start feeding your mind, start thinking different. Just like programmers think different than non-programmers, well, business people with a business oriented mindset think different from non-business oriented mindset as well. There's a different thought process behind it. And as an example, one of the benefits when you have a business oriented mindset, you start to focus, having the balance of have the product, right? It's an application, a SaaS platform or something. But now you got to think of the business side of it. Business side of it is, okay, let's, we need to do something quick. We need to roll something out fast, put it out there, see if the market likes it, test it out. Doesn't have to be perfect. Then we get feedback, improve on it. Maybe the market doesn't like it, right? If they don't like it, you don't waste all your time and your money. You're able to just cut your losses, you move on, right? Type deal. And that's the approach that once you start having that business oriented mindset, you start looking at things besides just the software side, but also from the business aspect side that makes sense, right? To roll something out. Like once you start incorporating the two, that's where you start thinking differently. Instead of trying to overthink, you know what, I'm going to create this new application and I'm going to use the fastest language that I can. Maybe I'm going to use Rust or C++ to code it for the back end because I need something robust and fast. And, I'm going to add all this and that and, so forth. Where somebody with a business oriented mindset probably going to be more like, you know what, we're going to slap something together. JavaScript, Python, doesn't matter. Something quick, easy, roll it out, see if we get traction on it, and we'll go from there, right? Like they're not too focused on the fastest language. They're not too focused on those aspects of it. I'm not saying that there's not those are not valid issues or valid questions when it comes to the language and framework and things of that nature. But again, sometimes we don't think of it. Let me give you a good example. You have an idea of an app. Let's say you know how to code in JavaScript and you know how to code in C++. If you code it in C++, the back end is going to be lightning fast, right? You know that. You code it in JavaScript, it's not going to be as fast, but it's going to still be fast, right? I mean, there's a lot of websites, a lot of apps are using the back end for JavaScript. So it's going to be good as well. But if you code in C++ for the back end, let's say it's going to take you 5 months to code that back end piece. Because there's a lot that, you got to do and this, and so forth. Where you do it in JavaScript, let's say you do it in 2 months. Like there's a big time difference there, guys. 2 to 5 months as an example, right? But that's kind of the point I'm trying to make is a lot of the times, when you have a business-oriented mindset, you're more focused on what's quick, not what language. I mean, here's the thing. If you only know one language, code in the language that you know. When you know multiple languages, and you're more focused on, I'm going to build it on the fastest language that I know, which may be C++ or Rust or something, because I want to make sure the back end is so fast where if our app is getting 100 million requests per second, we could handle that traffic or blah, 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 and so on and so on. But dude, that's where I think people get too delusional. Most apps that anybody build, like if you build or so forth build, you're not going to, again, not trying to bust your bubble, but most applications are never going to hit that kind of traffic. They're not. If you're trying to build a SaaS platform, you could easily build a SaaS platform. Let's say you got 100,000 subscribers, that are subscribing to your platform, and it's costing them $9.99 a month. Dude, you're making some really good money there. If you have 100,000 subscribers, for example, which is actually a good amount, and you're charging $9.99, like, dude, you're bringing in about $1 million a month or so. Like, again, that's real money. And then if speed becomes an issue at that point where you're bringing in money now, again, this is where the business mindset comes in. Now that you're making money, you could afford to have a team. As a team, you could help design a more optimal process, right, to handle the traffic. And maybe that's when you switch from something like Python or JavaScript, or maybe you have microservices run some of the heavy load intense processes over here, but over here everything else could still stay intact, right, using JavaScript, Python, Ruby, whatever, the whatever other language that may not be as fast. Like, again, you have the funds, you have a team to be able to do that. But when you first getting started, you should not be focused or thinking with this mindset that I'm going to try to accommodate every scenario. I want this to be the fastest it can, to make sure that it's scalable and this and that. Like, dude, any language you build, at the end of the day, even a language like, again, Python, which is not as fast as C++ or Rust or C#, etc., Ruby on Rails, JavaScript, these interpreted languages, they're going to handle tens of hundreds of thousands of requests per minute. They will, because ultimately, if you become constrained in that area, you would just have to up the resources. And then, of course, it's going to cost you a little bit more. But again, if you're making money, how I mentioned, maybe you're making 100,000 a month. Well, yeah, maybe paying an extra $1,000 a month for some additional resources not going to break the bank. But once you get to the point where maybe you need to handle millions and tens of millions or hundreds of millions of requests, per minute, for example, then yeah, maybe that's the time when you switch from a language like JavaScript to something else, right? You know, but again, though, wait until that time comes. Don't try to build the more optimal solution now when you have zero clients, zero users, right? You don't even know if the market even wants that product. Build something quick, roll it out. Even if it looks a little bit crappy, that's fine, right? You're testing out the functionality. You want to look decent at least, right? Decent, but you want to roll something out quick, man. Then you expand on it. I have seen certain certain projects throughout the years where they implemented something basic. I used it because I liked the functionality and it worked. And then I noticed now over time they have grown. I'm pretty sure they've been getting revenue and things of that nature. And then things change. Like they redid the logo. Logo's different as an example. They redid their website, the web app. Everything looks more modern, right? The UI looks more modern. Everything just kind of just looks better. It feels better. It's more feature rich. They're adding all these extra functionalities to it. But the way you do that, though, you got to have at least one idea. Roll it out, man. Push it out. And then just start building on, like, have people use it, get feedback, make changes. Once you start making money, that's where you could now invest back into the product little bit by little bit, right? And then over time, you could get it to this ultimate big scale application that maybe you envisioned in the beginning. But again, man, as software developers, man, there's a lot of software developers that are smart as hell, guys, like way smarter than me. But man, when it comes to the business aspect of it, they're not that smart. And then again, man, get a business oriented mindset, man. Because if you're going to get into business, if you're going to create some kind of SaaS platform and some kind of app, etc., you don't want to be stuck in this phase where you're designing and trying to accommodate every scenario you could think of. You want to optimize it in advance to make sure that there is no constraints, that you can handle tens of hundreds of millions of requests, where in reality nobody may even use your app. I mean, that's just the reality of it, right? And here's the thing, a lot of people that I have seen that are software developers that have built apps, some of them, they have apps that, dude, they bring in a few $1,000s a month, recurring revenue, dude. They put it out there, it's in the app store or whatever, and it's bringing in $5,000 a month, $7,000 a month. Dude, that's real money, right? It's real money. Others apps that some of these guys have built, they put out there and it's zero money, dude. No traffic, nothing, $0, and they shut it down. So again, you don't know if the market is going to want it until you put it out there. Once you put it out there, you may get a small clientele that brings in 10K of revenue a month, which is awesome. I think that's awesome. Or you may have an app that blows up and brings in 1 million, 10 million, or whatever a month, which is even better, right? But get out of that mindset of being trying to be a perfectionist, right? Trying to perfect your app, trying to accommodate all the scenarios, trying to make sure that your app is scalable in comparison to all the big platforms out there, the Google search and, Facebook and TikTok or whatever. Like, dude, no, man. Again, build something quick. Don't worry about scaling right now. I mean, as long as they could handle a couple of thousand requests, per minute or maybe 100,000 requests per minute or something like that, dude, you're fine. You're fine because you're testing your app, and your app does, explode, and everybody wants it because just one of those apps everybody wants, and that's a good problem to have. That's why you add load balancers and you start expanding, add more hardware resources to your server, and do all of those things first, right? Then over time you'll see if you need to switch to another language, So again, guys, that's my approach. That's the reason why I feel like anybody who wants to get into business, guys, need to have a business oriented mindset. Just kind of sharing what I have learned through my own experience, being an entrepreneur, and things of that nature. So again, guys, man, appreciate it, man. I appreciate all the support I've been getting on the channel. Again, the goal for this year, guys, 10K, guys, 10K is the goal to reach this year. So if you can help me out, give me a follow, guys, and we'll get there soon. Peace.